All in all, we can't really compete with what they have to offer. Hopefully, in 5 years' time, that won't be the case and we can bring him back. And I do feel like at this point now, I want to make it abundantly clear that one of the aims with this series, and I will not stop this series until it happens, is to buy Small Yo back.
Buy Small Yo back.
What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 147 of Park to Prem here with Towel or Town. Today we start on the profile of Small Yo, but you can't see it yet. I am about to toggle on the scene. You are going to be able to see, has he joined? Hasn't he joined? I have made a decision, and that is that we're not going to sign him. No. We're not going to sign him. I wish I had the words for this. I really wanted to sign him, and the only reason I've not signed him is because of what Morrigan did last year. When we really actually think about it, Small Yo had a couple of seasons at the club where he played well. We then sold him on for a big load of money, and then we loaned him, of course, for 3 further seasons. So yes, he contributed a lot over the course of 5 seasons at the club, but I feel like anything that Morrigan's done kind of overshadows 5 years in League One. Of course, this is Morrigan's 5th year at the club, and in that time he's done absolutely superbly. And this year so far, 5 clean sheets in 6 games. I couldn't do it. The time wasn't right. If we got some kind of irrejectable offer from Morrigan, Real Madrid came in with £80 million, it would probably be an easier decision to make. Some of my thinking was that with Small Yo, that we would essentially sign him. Obviously, he wasn't going to join until next summer, and then I could sell on Morrigan then. Obviously, the big risk is that I wouldn't be able to sell Morrigan on, and then I'm stuck with 2 first-choice strikers. So that's the decision, and that's the logic behind it. In terms of other stuff going on, before we get into today's games, the wage budget has been upped massively. I actually asked a couple of days ago now, not even a week ago, if I remember correctly, for the wage budget to be re-evaluated, and they raised it to £3.1 million, which is a crazy sum of money. Previously, it was around the 2.6 mark. You can see that leaves us with about £60 million in transfer budget. Of course, our overall balance, you can see here, sits at £311 million, which is a really healthy sum of money. And with this new wage budget, we're going to be able to offer everyone, hopefully, what they want. There's players like Turnbull who want silly money still. I am hoping to hold off giving a few of these players transfer offers, like someone like Turnbull, who's not starting as many games this year, until they reevaluate their place in the team. Because, right now, Dylan Turnbull still considers himself a star player. He started 4 games this year and come on off the bench 5. It's difficult to justify giving him a star player wage when that's how frequently, I suppose, he features in the team. Anyway, in terms of things since you were last here, we've played a decent chunk of games. We've played 6 in total. Some of these in the league, some of these in the Champions League. And our Champions League group, if you were wondering, consists of Malmo, Stade Rennais, and Real Madrid. Now, I have already played against Real Madrid. I know some people are going to be upset that I didn't do that game. It was the first game of the group stage, as I mentioned last episode. I want to get through the seasons a little bit quicker, and today's game against Arsenal feels a little more significant, as it's on a run where we are doing very, very well, and we'll hopefully be able to keep the momentum going today. So anyway, a quick look through these games, the first of which was a 0-0 draw against Watford, a disappointing result, the only time we've slipped up in terms of point scoring this year in the league. However, we did follow that up with another clean sheet and a convincing win against Watford. 2-0 this one, finished Dylan Turnbull with the first, a set piece. Typical getting in the box, Dylan Turnbull in the right place at the right time. Semi-rotated squad for this game did a really good job. Later on in the match, Steve Norman with a lovely goal for his first of the season with just a minute left on the clock. 2-0 it finished, and we got some momentum from that into a tough run of away games. And the next of these away games was against Everton, where Cancina got one of the best goals I've seen all season. He picked up the ball around the halfway line, dribbled forward, and a cool, calm, collected finish at the end of it. Andy Eric then with a goal not long after that. And then from there, we exchanged blows until it finished 3-2. The big kind of, I guess, thing overshadowing this game was the fact that Cancina got injured for a little over a month. Of course, the striking department is probably the area with the best strength in depth, so we've been able to cope reasonably well. You can see in this game, Shvetsov got a really tidy finish, Andy Eric turning provider having scored. Late on, they did get a goal, but the game was done at that point. 3-2 it finished. That is the most goals we've scored in a game so far this year, which by our own standards isn't particularly high. Hopefully we can, start getting a few more 3-goal wins. It's something that we did last year against lesser opposition for sure. The next game we had, the last of this run of away games, was against Real Madrid. It was the opening game of the Champions League, and Yankov scored for them very early on. A bit of a balls up by us at the back. They won the ball via Jude Bellingham, and the ball just got forward to their attacker. Speaking of Jude Bellingham, of course, a player we managed at England, he added Real Madrid's second just before half-time. And then in the 47th minute, we got a goal back, and at 2-1, Real Madrid had been the better team, but we did gather a little bit of momentum. Unfortunately, we just couldn't find a breakthrough in the second half, and 2-1 is ultimately how it finished. That is not an ideal start to the group stage, but we will look to bounce back. And I think our two, other teams in this group leave us in a position where we should be backing ourselves to get second this year quite comfortably. Anyway, 2-0 wins in the most recent games. The first of these against Bournemouth. Andrei Shvetsov with the first goal. Yeah, just a really nice goals in this one. Matasevic's got goal in the 62nd minute. A long-range effort from range. A semi-rotated side for this game. And then we took on Luton, which I'm not going to show the highlights for, but we gave an opportunity to lots of younger players, which was great to see. And the pick of these is Sami Tanel, who is a player who generated at the club. We have been training him to play left wing-back for a few years now. You can see he also made his Premier League debut in that game against Bournemouth. And he's been doing really, really well. In this game, Useless scored, which was obviously nice to see. A player who I do see and envisage becoming a squad centre-mid option in terms of, a really good kind of squad player. The other player scored, Christian Andersen, one of many Danish players at the club. He's only 18 years old, really, really good centre-attacking mid. And he really enjoyed his time in the spotlight in this game. He actually kicked up a fuss about lack of Champions League squad registration, which I found a little bit bizarre. I do think that's a side effect to the fact that, as you can see here, I've got a load of the youngsters training with the first team. We have made them all available for the reserves in order to get match fitness, in order to stay sharp. But yeah, it was good to be able to give them an opportunity against Luton, and for the most part they took it, which is really what you want to see when you give the youngsters a shot. It does mean that with that rotation, we come into this next game fit and ready and raring to go. As I mentioned in the Premier League, we've slipped up once against Watford. Besides that, though, 5 wins in the last 6. And if we just look at the league table here, I don't know why this form bit is bugged out, but you can see it's a 3-way tie at the top of the table. There are 3 of us all on 16 points, ourselves, Chelsea and Manchester City, the teams you would probably envisage and expect to be there. Worth noting, Brentford currently up in 6th. Fair play to them. They are going very, very well indeed. Today we take on Arsenal, who are massively underperforming, so a bit of pressure on them to potentially bounce back. It's not going to be an easy game, although being at home for it is certainly a little advantage. And it would be good to keep some momentum going into the month of October, where, as you can see, we've got a few tricky games, including Chelsea, which is when we'll be back next time. That is going to be an extremely big game for us, which I'm a little bit nervous for, I'll be honest with you. So anyway, let's get into today's game against Arsenal. We're at home. We should be beating them, of course. We'll think back to that EFL Cup win that we got against them a few years ago. Or in fact, it was just last year, but it feels like a while ago now. To hopefully give us some inspiration. Unfortunately, Cancina is still injured. You can see here he's out for between 7 days and 2 weeks. In terms of the striking options, that means Shvetsov and Turnbull are going to be reunited up top. We've got Stevie Norman on the bench, a player who hasn't been smashing in goals for fun, but has been improving a hell of a lot this year. And alongside him, a little partner in crime in Antti Bubalo, who hasn't had too many opportunities this year so far. A player who I wanted to loan out. He is our 5th choice striker in the side. And who knows, maybe we'll try and get him a loan move in January, because I can see his development stagnating if he isn't given first team opportunities. But anyway, let's get into this game against Arsenal. This is the kind of game which I'm hoping is going to be a little bit of a confidence builder. After a few little setbacks over the last month against the likes of Watford and against the likes of Real Madrid, it's time to hopefully find some form ahead of a really tricky month. Of course, we've played Real Madrid in our group. Our next few Champions League games are against Stade Rennais and Malmo. They are games that we absolutely need to win. Anyway, full strength squad besides the Cancina change. So let's see what we can do here. As Nico is going to throw the ball forward. Shvetsov under it, cleared away to Andre. Ball back wide to the left back, who pulls it back to Andy Eric, who hits the woodwork. I want to check a stat really quickly, if I can please, game. I swear Andy Eric has hit the woodwork more than I've ever seen any footballer hit the woodwork ever. I'm trying to think if I have a good view for this. Sorry, this is completely off topic, but I can't click correctly, apparently. I want to look at match stats. And then I want to insert column. Stats. Chalkboard? Is it shots? So apparently Football Manager doesn't track how often individual players hit the woodwork. So this is a complete waste of time. Just trust me when I say Andy Eric, just throughout the rest of this season, just keep watching and count how many times you see him hit the woodwork in live comms. Because it feels like every match that I watch when I'm just playing, he hits the woodwork at the moment. Anyway, hopefully we can find the target soon. As the ball is in the box, it's a bit of a mad scramble. Shvetsov and Turnbull battling out for it. But Arsenal dealing with it with Whedon in goal. Anyway, Bones for them. Out on the left-hand side, Carlos in front of the gazebo. Don't let them get the ball into the box. Can we force them out? We try and win the ball back. A little bit of a fortuitous bounce, perhaps. Ball now spread out onto this far side. And, well, they're bringing it forward, aren't they? Tessier, the right back, inside to Bones. Happy to let them have possession here, really. We're not overly keen to get the ball back, but the further they move away from our goal, the happier I will be as Tessier switches the play over onto this left-hand side. Mateus Aurelio reads it, however. Not had as many assists as last year, Mateus Aurelio. He gives it to Andy Eric, bringing it forward, and, well, that's not even the woodwork, Andy. I feel like now I've encouraged him to shoot at every opportunity in order to hit the woodwork to prove a point. 20 minutes gone, dominant so far. They've not even had a shot. Unfortunately, only one shot on target is not good enough. Can we turn a set piece into something? Ball thrown forward. Shvetsov was under it, but the keeper collects for Arsenal. And yeah, I talked about Mateus Aurelio just a second ago. He's not had the same number of assists and goals as last season. Something that obviously earned him a big contract at the club. I still think he is one of the most talented players at the team, but I'm hoping to see a little bit more from him. Anyway, Nico dances past one man. Can he dance past another? He whips in the ball. Andy Eric. I mean, every chance is falling to him at the moment, the Brazilian at centre attacking mid. Nico now, long throw forward. Shvetsov underneath it, uncontested. He heads over. We have still only hit the target once. We've had 11 shots. They've not had any shots. They have been bullied in this game so far. But the breakthrough just isn't quite coming. It's not quite there. And at half-time, it's 0-0. What a dominant display that results in absolutely nothing. Let's hope in the second half we can step it up just a little bit. I am half tempted to go on attacking, but you know what? We'll save it for now. We're clearly creating opportunities. We're having the better of the play, playing our current system. There's no point in panicking and changing it too soon. You know, risking opening ourselves up to the counter-attack, perhaps. Mateus Aurelio bringing it down this right-hand side here. Can he get the ball into the middle? He pulls it back to Andre, who switches the play over to Nico, the left-back. Brings it forward, hits it, and what a lovely finish that is by Nico. Not bad for a left-back. That's what we needed. A moment of quality. Andre with a nice little assist as well to see the left-back open. And we shift the play from one side to the other. Arsenal defending perhaps a little bit narrow. Afforded Nico a little bit of pace. Or rather space. He used his pace. Got into that. And tucks it away. Blows a kiss to the crowd and celebrates in front of the gazebo. You love to see it. Hopefully we can get one or two more now. Just to ease my nerves a little. Leskinen, set piece here, out on the near side, whipping it towards the near post, Turnbull underneath it, falls to Soretta, and that is going to end up in the back of the net. Soretta, I'm not sure if it was a pass by the centre-back, I'm not sure if it was a shot, I'm sure he will claim it was the former, but Dylan Turnbull was in the right place at the right time for his third goal of the season. And that is the least that we deserve here. We have been by far and away the better team, and now the scoreline finally starting to reflect it. Leskinen on a booking, not on the best of games. Let's bring in Kaiser for him. Elsewhere, Matasevic and Shvetsov not having the greatest of games. I'm going to bring in Norman for Shvetsov, a player who is developing really well, Norman, but hasn't been afforded nearly enough starts. This might be a good little opportunity for him to come on in a game where we are by far and away the better team, with his fresh legs, with his explosive pace. Rip apart the Arsenal defence and maybe get an elusive goal for himself. 10 minutes left. It remains 2-0 here. Time just ticking away. It's going. It's almost gone. And, well, if we score here, I think all of Arsenal's hopes of possibly winning this game are gone. Although, Serretti's been caught out here, and Diallo is bringing it forward. He's got a man square to him, which is Sissoko. He hits it. Morgan called into action for only the second time today. Makes a lovely stopping goal. And, well, we now have a corner to deal with. Can we deal with it? That's the question. Ball whipped in. Vital headers it. Morgan, again, right place, right time. That is why we're not selling him. Not that we were ever going to sell him. Maybe we would have just kept him with Smoljo. Anyway, it finishes 2-0 here. A nice, convincing little win. Andy Eric only hit the woodwork twice. Or rather once, but we'll just pretend he hit it more times. But Matasevic, 87% pass completion for him. You love to see it. And with that result, we make it 8 unbeaten in the Premier League. Yeah, we've had an unbeaten start to the year. It's easy to forget that given the fact we have slipped up. You can see here, Man City and Chelsea yet to play this weekend. So you know what we're going to do now. We're going to mash that little continue button. Derby County v Man City. We've been here before. Derby got a draw last year. Derby, do it again. Do it for me. Please. I've asked nicely, Derby. I've asked nicely. Please, Derby County. We've got to continue once more for the first result. We may even need to continue again for the second. That's so unfortunate. It finishes 2-1. Mihail, our former man, got one of the goals. Now we shift our attention to West Brom v Chelsea. Worth noting, by the way, West Brom are doing very well. They're in 7th, but they are managed by our affiliate, Coventry's former manager, Darren Ferguson. He's doing very well at the club. Meanwhile, for Coventry, 3 points and 6 isn't very good for them. And oh my word, West Brom actually won. West Brom actually beat Chelsea. That is huge for the title. That is probably going to put more pressure on Chelsea going into the next month to not only get results there, but also to get a big result against us when we meet them next time out. You can see here it was considered the key match of the weekend. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up everything from me today. Let me know what you made of the Smoljo-Morgan decision. It was a tricky one. It wasn't easy, but I think we've made the right one in the end. We're on a good little run of form, lots of clean sheets. The goal's not quite flowing as much as I would like, but hopefully we can set that record straight soon. As I said, next time we will be back with that game against Chelsea. It is in just under a month's time. It should be a big one, away from home. Going to be huge. 2 Champions League games in the meantime mean that we should have a a much better grasp, I suppose, on our situation in Europe as well come next episode tomorrow. And, that is all from me today. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys again on Tuesday. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.